Class 10th. Welcome to the SST class. So today we are doing chapter 2 Civics Federalism. As the meaning of the word suggests, federal means what is the exact meaning of federal? Means agreement between the two levels of the government, central level and the state level. So in this chapter let's see what are the contents of the chapter, what we are going to read in this chapter. We will read what is federal system, what is unitary system, features of federalism, types of federalism. In this types of federalism we'll do holding together, coming together, what makes India a federal country, divisions of powers between union list, state list and concurrent list and residuary subjects, how federalism is practiced, linguistic, states, three policies, language policy and central and state relationship. At the end, we will see what is decentralization, how the decentralization is practiced in India, what is the structure of the local self-government and what is the power the local self-government has been given, it is successful or not, structure of the local self-government and what are the deficiencies of the local government. So these are all the content of the chapter. So let's start with what is federalism. Let's see what is unitary system first of all, and then we will see the difference between the unitary system and the federal system. So in this form of administration there is only one levels of government. If there are more subunits, they are subordinates towards the central government. So central government has a final say and the other subunits are subordinate towards the central government. They are answerable to the central government. Like federal government, they are not independent. Here central passes on the orders to the other levels of the government. Other levels of government are subordinate to central government. So this you can see here, it has been divided into central government and other subunits. If other subunits are there, then they are responsible towards the central government only. As in federal system you have seen that state government enjoys independent power and central government enjoys independent power, and they are both are answerable towards the citizens only, and state government is not answerable towards the central government. So this is the major difference between them. In this sense the federation are contrasted with unitary government. Under the unitary system either there is only one level of government or the subunits are subordinate to the central government, but in federal system the central government cannot order the state government to do something. So this is the difference you can see here. Now very important question, what are the features of federalism? 7 features are there. As you know, first feature, federal means the division of the power sharing between the two levels of the government. Two level of the government exists here. Each level has its own jurisdiction, means each level has its own subjects, own areas. What is the meaning of jurisdiction? That means the area someone has legal authority. The area may be defined in the terms of geographical boundaries or in terms of certain kinds of subjects. Then each level has jurisdiction is specified in the constitution. It has different tiers of government govern the same citizen, but each tier has its own jurisdiction. The jurisdiction of the respective level or tier of the governments are specified in the constitution. The fundamental provision of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of the government. Such a change is required the consent of both the levels of the government. And now court have a final say. Court have the power to interpret the constitution and the powers of different levels of the government. Sources of revenue, if you see, for each level of the government are clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. And the last is federalism has a dual objective: to safeguard and promote the unity of the country while at the same time accommodate regional diversity. So an ideal federal system has both the aspect mutual trust and agreement to live together. Now we come to the next slide. Federalism. The first route involves independent states coming together on their own to form a bigger unit, so that by pooling a sovereignty and retaining identity they can increase their security. The type of coming together federation include USA, Switzerland and Australia. In this category, the federations, all the constituent states usually have equal power. Now, types of federalism holding together. So here are the countries. If you can see the example of India also, countries divided into states for better administration. So the power can be shared in the central with different states. Different states has a different power. It helps for the accommodation of diversity. Some state might be given more power. The ultimate power lies in the hands of the central government. Example is India, Spain and Belgium. So union territories are given less power. And if we'll see the example of earlier, according to Article 370, the power has been taken from Kashmir, but earlier the Kashmir has a more power. It has their own constitution. Now, what makes India federal? This is a very important question. Division of powers. Some states are given more powers. Written constitution is there. Union territories are there. Jurisdiction. Each level has their own jurisdiction, and levels of government have their own powers. They are not, state government is not answerable toward the central order. All the 7 features you have read, you can use these features in answering this question, what makes India a federal country, because India is using all the features of federalism. Now, division of power. According to this, the subjects has been divided for union list, subjects on which only central government makes the laws, that is defense, foreign affairs, currency, communication. State list, subject on which only state government can make laws, police, trade, agriculture, irrigation and commerce. Concurrent list, subjects on which both the levels can make law, but at the end law made by the central continues. That means central government has a final say. Education, marriage, trade unions, adoption and success. If any dispute arises, then central government has a final say. Residuary subjects, which newly added in the list after that constitution was written, and central government only has a right to make laws on them. Computers, software, that time when the constitution was made, these subjects were not there, so they are included in a residuary subject. After that, how federalism is practiced. So it can be other question, what are the 3 policies of the federalism? So first test is linguistic state. The first challenges faced after independence was linguistic states. New states were formed on the basis of language and culture. Some states were formed on the basis of ethnicity, geographical basis, Nagaland, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. Some were concerned that it might lead to disintegration of the nation, but they worked well and effectively. If you remember, we are framing the constitution, we are getting the independence. At that moment the settlement of refugees are there, and the India is divided. India and Pakistan has been divided. So in this turmoil conditions, there is that according to the language, the states had been divided. So there is a question of worry that if it has been divided into languages, according to that there may be same type of partition, same type of conflict and disputes we can face, but that was not happened. Some were concerned that it might lead to disintegration of the nation, but it leads to the integration of the nation. So we have done this. After that, language policy is very important. The second test for Indian federalism is a language policy. Our constitution did not give the status of national language to any one language. Hindi was identified as the official language, but Hindi is the mother tongue of only about 40% of the Indians. Therefore, there were many safeguards to protect other languages. Besides Hindi, there are 21 other recognized as scheduled language by the constitution. So here you can see, unlike Sri Lanka, the leaders of our country adopted a very cautious attitude in speaking of the use of Hindi. So according to the constitution, the use of English for official purpose was to stop in 1965. So you can see here the flexibility shown by our Indian political leaders helped our country avoid the kind of situation the Sri Lanka find it itself. After that, the last topic was central and state relations in this policy. Restructuring the central state relations is one more way to which the federalism has been strengthened in the practice. For a long time, the same party ruled bold at the central and the most of the states. This meant that the state government did not exercise the rights as autonomous federal unit. All this changed significantly after 1990. This period saw the rise of regional political parties in many states of the country. This way, also, the coalition government is there. You know the meaning of coalition government at the center. Since no single party got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha, the major national parties had to enter into an alliance with many parties, including several regional parties, to form a government at the central. So, this is called coalition government. So, later on, federal power sharing is more effective today than it was in the earlier years after the constitution has been made. Now, important question, what is decentralization? As the word suggests, decentralization means when the power is taken away from the central and given to the other government is called a decentralization. We noted above, the federal government has two or more tiers of the government. We have so far discussed the two tiers of the government, but a vast country like India cannot be run only through these two tiers. States in India are as large as independent countries of Europe. In terms of population, Uttar Pradesh is bigger than Russia. So many of these states are internally very diverse. So to rule that, thus there is a need for power sharing within these states. So federal sharing in India need another tier of government. This is the rationale for the decentralization of the government. Thus the resulted a third tier of government. Now, how local self-government has been given more powers. According to 1992, a major steps toward decentralization has been taken. Now it is constitutionally mandatory to hold regular elections in local government bodies. Seats are reserved in the elected bodies and the executive heads of these institutions for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and other backward classes. At least 1/3 of all positions are reserved for women. An independent institution called the State Election Commission has been created in each state. The state government are required to share some powers and revenue with the local government bodies. So you can see that central government has given power and election has been made mandatory by the constitution. Now, structure of the local government. The local government structure goes right up to the district level. Few gram panchayats are grouped together to form what is usually called a panchayat samiti or block samiti mandal. The members of the representative body are elected by all the panchayat members in that area. All the panchayat samitis or mandals in a district together constitute the Jila Parishad. Most members of Jila Parishad are elected. Members of the Lok Sabha and MLAs of the district and some other officials of other district level bodies are also in the members. Jila Parishad chairperson is the political head of the Jila Parishad. So, municipality and corporation. Similarly, local government exists for urban areas as well. Municipality are set up in the towns. Big city are constituted into municipal corporation. Both the municipality and municipal corporation are controlled by elected bodies consisting of peoples of representatives.